watch this. All right. Let's see. Stacy, I'm going to make you a host, and if you can let people in, that would be helpful since we still have people kind of pouring in here. Assuming I can find you. Okay, I think I've got it. Thanks. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick welcome. I'm JC Milius, and I'm one of the co-superintendents for the State Fair Fashion Show. I'm joined by Stacy Keys, who I just made a co-host. I don't know, Stacy, if you want to like give a little wave. I don't know if people can see you or not. And also Andrea Nisley. Andrea has been a superintendent for a lot of years, and so she has graciously agreed to come back and kind of make sure that Stacy and I know what we're doing before she steps out of the picture. So we're very, very fortunate to have Andrea's experience on our team. So before we begin, I've noticed that we have quite a bunch of people, and I'm guessing that many 4-Hers are on. So thank you all for coming. It looks like there might be some parents on as well, maybe grandparents. So thank you all for attending this meeting. If you have done the State Fair 4-H Fashion Show last year, the format is extremely familiar. It's going to be familiar to you. If this is brand new, then it won't be too much of a surprise. Everything is going to flow smoothly, we hope. And so we're keeping a lot of the same things that we did last year. We had to make some changes for COVID, and we ended up liking a lot of them. So this will be very familiar to those people who attended last year's State Fair Fashion Show. So let's just dive right in. I do have a section toward the end for questions and hopefully answers. Maybe I can't answer all of them, but we'll try. So if you would like hold your questions till the end, that would be super. We'll just do like an unmute kind of thing, and you can ask away. Otherwise, if you want to type things into the chat, Stacy and Andrea can maybe keep an eye on that a little bit for me as well. And if it's a question that we can't answer right away, then maybe we'll circle back to it at the end. All right, here we go. So let me see if I can present this. Whoops, wrong button. Make this a little bit bigger. All right. So as you know, the State Fair Fashion Show has been scheduled for Saturday, August 28th. We have 3 different shows this year, just like last year. Our show 1 and show 2, they are for the constructed garments. Our first show starts at 9 a.m. and that's the time that the modeling happens. So we do ask 4-Hers to arrive before the modeling actually happens so that they can get dressed and they can get a feel for the space before they actually have to walk down the runway. So there is a registration that will be between 8 and 8:30. That's when we allow the 4-Hers to come into the building. We do also have, in that first show, we do have some wool garments. So there is a special wool award. So those of you that marked that you have 60% wool in or more in your garment have a special judging section that you'll have to attend prior to the actual fashion show. So those will be judged at 8:15 a.m. We do open rehearsal for each show. We're we're giving you about 35 minutes in each show to be able to do some practice and walk down the runway, get a feel for what's going on in the building. Show 2 is also constructed garments. It's scheduled to start at 11 a.m. and the registration for that is 10 to 10:30. Rehearsal for that one is 10:10 to 10:45. And then our third show is the Shopping and Style show, which begins at 1 p.m. and registration is between noon and 12:30. Rehearsal 12:10 to 12:45. So I do have kind of the shows assigned at this point in time. I don't have the order entirely solidified. We also had a couple, whoops, let me get out of here. A couple of stragglers on entries. So I haven't gotten those into the shows yet. So I will be making some updates to this probably by noon tomorrow is kind of my goal. So on that email newsletter, it's a s'more newsletter that I sent out. I think it was kind of the beginning of this week. I did put a link on there for this folder. You can access all of these and see which show you're in. This one is show 1. So you'll notice that all of the ones that have marked that you have a 30% or 60% wool garment or more, I've put you up here in the wool. So that means that you need to be there for that wool part. Otherwise, it's organized by county, so you can kind of find it quickly which show you're in. So I'll just click on show 2 here and give you a quick look-see on that one as well. So once again, the constructed garments are all in show 1 and show 2, and then all of the shopping and style will happen in show 3. The reason for that is because there's a different score sheet and different form for our judges to look at. And so we want to make sure that they have time to look at all of the shopping and style before they actually judge the shopping and style, but also they don't have to figure out, did the 4-H'er buy this garment or did they make the garment? So that's kind of why we have it structured in the way that we do. So you're welcome to get on these and kind of look around. Like I said, I will be making some final updates by tomorrow at noon. So, but I will also say that once you're in a show, I won't be like pulling you out of a show. So unless for some reason you have a circumstance in which you would need to be moved to a different show. But for the most part, I am not going to say, okay, so-and-so is in show number 2. I have someone else that I'm putting into show number 2, so I'm going to move her to show 1. I'm not going to do that. So this list right now is going to stay. This is the show that you're going to stay in, unless you contact me and say, this is absolutely not going to work for me. And for those, I do like a case by case basis, and I do try and accommodate the best that I can. I can't make too many promises, but I can try to accommodate. Okay, let me go back here. And so how will this work? So like I said, if you modeled last year at the Nebraska State Fair, this is exactly the same format. So this is the east side of the building. So this is the Raising Nebraska building, or the Nebraska building, I guess it's called. So this is the Raising Nebraska exhibit. There are 3 doors to this particular exhibit on the east side of the building. The 4-H'ers will enter through the registration door. We'll have a sign. It will be marked, but there's also going to be a table sitting outside. You can't miss it. And that's the door you'll come into. And we do have 2 dressing rooms. Our first dressing room is the house exhibit down here. And the second dressing room is the grain bin exhibit. So they're kind of unconventional dressing areas, but they did work for us last year. We do have pipe and drape that is like blocking all of the areas. Last year, the pipe and drape wasn't like overly thick, and so you could kind of see shadows through them. I did order some thicker pipe and drape this year, so hopefully that won't be an issue. So 2 dressing rooms, they'll be assigned to you based upon your number. Talk about that a little bit more here in a bit. But then there's also going to be a spectator entrance. So this building will be closed down for the safety of the youth that are modeling. So we don't want like random people walking through the building like while people are dressing. So we're trying to keep the people in the building while you're dressing to a minimum. So it'll just be the volunteers and the judges that are in the building at that particular time. So spectator entrance will be closed up until the time that we begin letting people in, about 10 to 15 minutes before showtime. So the runway, we do have a little staging area right here. This will be where people kind of gather, where the 4-Hers gather before they enter on the runway. So that's what that part is. Then you'll enter on this side. There will be an announcer standing right here, and also a volunteer that's kind of assisting you at this point in time. I'm actually going to go to my next slide because it's a little bit bigger. So we'll have kind of a backdrop type thing right here. And then we'll have a volunteer that tells you where to go right here, or when to go, I guess. And then last year we did put our announcer right over here as well, so she could see fairly well what was going on. But you'll enter on this side of the runway. You'll walk down. It's not like traditional modeling where you're going to like take 2 steps and do like a turn. You're going to walk a fair amount of distance, and then you're going to stop. We'll put an X on the floor so you know kind of where the center point is. You're actually walking under a pivot, which is kind of fun because the lights are above you. So you'll stop. If you want to do a turn at this point in time, you're more than welcome to. But then you'll continue walking. So the announcer, while you're doing this part of your walk, the announcer will be reading your name, and they'll be reading part of your narration. So the narration will be approximately 2 to 3 sentences long. It'll probably get you to 2/3 of the way down the runway is about how long we're aiming for these to be. So then this is the combine exhibit in the Raising Nebraska building. So you're going to continue past the combine exhibit, and we have a video. We're doing a live stream, so there will be like a GoPro camera and a person kind of sitting down here that and some bright lights that you'll need to go kind of stop at, smile at, kind of. You don't have to do like a model turn or anything like that. You can just kind of walk slowly past them. But then there's also going to be a volunteer. And as you're walking down this side, I'd like you to kind of glance at this volunteer occasionally, because she'll have a big white sign that says slow down if you're walking too fast, or speed up if you're walking too slow. So she'll be kind of trying to help you judge the pace, but we will also have some music. So it is kind of nice. You'll have a beat to walk to, as well as the words to your narration. So do occasionally like look up and check out this volunteer here at the end. She'll kind of help you, guide you. Then once you reach this part, then you'll enter the judging area. So we'll have 5 judges, And at this point in time, let me go back to my previous slide if I can. I'm not entirely sure how to do this on Canva, but we'll try it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you can sort of see it down here. So we have 5 judges. They will have letters. I'll show you a picture of that here in a second. But each judge will be assigned a letter, and each model will be assigned a number and a letter. So the number tells you what order that you're going to model in, and the letter tells you which judge to go to. So Judge A will be the furthest away from this area, and then E will be the closest. We do ask that you model at this area. So like this is the modeling that you're familiar with at your county fair, where you might make like a triangle, or you might walk around and do a couple turns. You might walk up close to the judge and talk. There's not great acoustics in this area, so the judge may ask you to come up close and ask you a couple questions. There will be a volunteer here that is going to be telling you when to go to the judge, which she'll help you get to which judge you're going to go to. And then another volunteer is going to, I think it's going to be Stacy actually. So I could be wrong though. So she'll be telling you like when you need to continue on. So like when your judging time is kind of completed. So this part will go pretty quickly. We do want you to use up the whole time though. So I think we have a minute and a half for you to model in front of each judge. We do want you to like use that whole minute and a half modeling for the judge. So even if the judge is like writing, we want you to stay there until the volunteer tells you that you can go on. So keep that in mind as you think about how to prepare for this day. That there is a little space in here that you'll be able to walk, and you can practice this at rehearsal. So just so you know that we do want you to actually model in front of these judges here. So then once the modeling is complete, once the judging is complete, then you're going to enter back on the runway. So we'll have a volunteer at this side of the runway. She'll be telling you where to go and when to go. And then you'll kind of walk back. It's not exactly perfect to get you right under the pivot, but you'll have to like walk back so that you are underneath the pivot again. And then just like the other side, you're going to stop, and then you're going to continue on down to the end of side 2. So hopefully that kind of gives you a rough idea of how that part is going to work. The other thing I'm going to show you on this map before we move on is we do have photography, a photography station right here. I'll talk a little bit more about it. So it's very close to registration. You'll be able to see it when you walk in. The other things I'll point out is there's a door right over here that's going to be locked. So I already mentioned that the building is closed to the public while we're in there having our dressing time. So if you do need to go to the restroom, the women's restrooms here, the men's restrooms here, if you do need to go to the restroom, we will have people in each of these dressing rooms that are helping you. If you need to like get help zipped up, or if you need help pinning your number on, those types of things, they'll be helping you with all of those things. But you'll need to let them know if you do need to use the restroom, because they'll have to let you out and let you back in. So just a forewarning there. Okay, I think Andrea and Stacy, is there anything that I missed at this point in time?
No.
Okay,
You're good to go.
Thanks. Okay, so I do have a couple photos that maybe will help you kind of gauge what the space looked like last year. So this is the runway that you can see right here. You can see this is kind of the beginning and the end of the runway. So you walk down the runway. I think that this is like one of the stopping points, kind of midpoint here. And then you walk all the way to the end where this gal in the red dress is down here. That's where our, you can see the lights from the live stream. And then here's the combine exhibit. So back behind the combine exhibit is where all the judging occurs. Then you would walk back and enter the runway. So this is where you would walk back and enter back into the runway. So this is looking the opposite direction. Okay. Then this is what the judging area looks like. Hopefully this will give you a feel for what the judging looks like, so it's not quite so scary. You'll notice that each judge here has a letter, and then there's a letter on the floor. So that will correspond with the letter that's on the tag that you pin onto your garment. And then, so when you go to the judging area, you'll just go and stand on that letter on the floor, and then the judge will tell you when she wants you to begin. Okay, that's the judging. So I do have a few details here for you about being an exhibitor. We touched on dressing a little bit, but I'll talk some more about it. We do have 2 dressing rooms. Once again, they're assigned to you based on your exhibitor number. So once you're assigned a dressing room, we ask you to please go into that dressing room and stay in that dressing room. We don't want everybody and their dog to go into these dressing rooms. We ask that it's only the contestants, because there are people dressing in there, the contestants, and then the volunteers who have been assigned to that particular volunteer role. So I think we'll have, I want to say 3 dressing room attendants per dressing room. So there will be 3 adult volunteers that will be assisting you with the dressing procedures. So the exhibitor number that you get at registration, you will pin it onto your garment. The dressing room attendants can help you, but that is how you know the order and which judge you go to. I missed my little registration thing down here. So once again, it's on the east side of Raising, Nebraska. There will be a packet there with your name on it. It has some information inside of it for you, and then also your exhibitor number. There will also be a copy of your narration. So when you go into that rehearsal time, you would take that narration with you. You may want to practice in your shoes, and you would hand that to the MC here, and she will practice reading your name, making sure that's correct, making sure she knows how to say all of the things that are within your narration. But it also gives you a good time that you can practice walking to music, practice walking to the narration. And then we also ask that you practice modeling in that judging area as well, just so you know how that's going to feel, regardless if it's actually with your letter or not. But we do want you to know where your letter is and have an idea of what you might do in that space. I mentioned this at the beginning or earlier, I guess. We do have a professional photographer that's planning on being there. They're going to be taking photos of the exhibitors before, during, and right after the show. Hopefully we don't have to do it after the show. Hopefully we can get you all worked in there. But it is your responsibility to find a time to take a photo with that photographer. So maybe do it during rehearsal would be a good time, or if you're at the beginning of the show, you can go do it while you're waiting for the show to end. The other thing I will mention about the modeling is that at the very end, we will do a grand finale where all of the models will come back out. So at the very end, after the last model walks off the stage or walks off the runway, then we're going to, it doesn't have to be in any particular order. We don't necessarily care at that point in time, but you'll all kind of gather in that staging area, and then you'll all do one final walk through the runway area. So Just thought I should mention that one while I'm thinking about it. So do take a photo. We would appreciate that. Your county offices appreciate that, because then they have, we'll give them a press release that they can print in the newspaper, and then they'll also have a photo. It just makes everything really easy for them. So please do get a photo taken. Not to mention, you can have your photo for future posterity purposes, nostalgia, etc. So anything I missed for exhibitors? Oh, there is one thing Andrea reminded me earlier. I have heard from Andrea that county offices have received tickets for fashion show participants and for presentation contest participants to pick up. So do check in with your county extension office, get your tickets, and then you can, that's for like admission. So the gate admission to the actual state fair. There is no tickets for our fashion show. It's open to the public. So that's what we'll talk about next. Did I miss anything else, Stacy and Andrea?
If they're a livestock exhibitor, their pass that goes with the livestock, they don't get an extra one to get into the fashion show.
Okay.
Okay, so it's only those that are not livestock that will get a pass.
Okay.
We had a question about the wool judging, JC.
Oh yeah.
Is that in the same location as the other judges, or is that in a different location? I know the answer, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, it will be in a different location. Here, let me get to my map here. Oh, I went too far. Got too crazy. Okay, so our wool judging is actually going to happen in this circle. It's like a, I don't know, carpeted area inside of there. We'll set up a table. We have 2 judges that will come to judge you, and then you can do your little modeling right inside of this circle. It's not an overly huge circle, so kind of prepare yourself for that, but that will happen before the show ever starts. And then the wool contestants are the last ones to model on the runway, just in case the wool judging takes a little longer. So just so you know that order there.
JC, and the wool ones are not judged again in the group of 5
right
judges.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. That is a good point. So once you're judged here, you don't need to stop here. Okay, so for the wool people only, not the rest of the people that don't have wool, you'll kind of breeze right through this part. Our volunteer that's stationed right here will kind of have a clue that you're wool. She'll know what number to let you go through. So, okay, any other questions before we continue? Okay, so just some quick spectator details. It is going to be open to the public this year, unless we have some DHMs that require us to not to limit the seating or require social distancing. That was one of the main reasons we had to have the setup in the ticketed shows like we did last year, with only a certain number of chairs, and the chairs had to be spaced apart. So at this point in time, we are planning on it being open to the public. I kind of showed you where to enter through at the beginning, but you're going to enter through the north doors that are on the east side of the building. So in this picture that you can see here, this is the east side of the building. The door is like clear up here. You can sort of see that. So the doors are going to be closed until about 10 to 15 minutes before the fashion show. Then we'll start allowing people to come in. That's just so that we know that all the 4-Hers are dressed, that people aren't going to be weird with teenagers dressing. So we're trying to minimize risk as much as we possibly can. Seating is on a first come, first served basis. So do know that. We will form a line outside. So keep that in mind as you make your plans for that day. I am not going to print fashion show programs this year. We didn't last year either. I did print one copy to put in the registration packets, and that's what my plan is. Again, I'll print one copy. So if you want the copy before the show, you're welcome to take it out of the registration packet, but I won't be having copies that are available at the Spectator entrance. So just so you know. We will have a digital copy that you can access on your mobile device though. So you're more than welcome to use that during the show as well. At this point in time, masks aren't required, but we do encourage them. If something should change by the 28th, we will follow whatever the current DHMs are. Andrea just told me that the health department has a bunch of cases that have been happening recently. So who knows where we'll be in another week. So at this point in time, not required. All right. Did I miss anything, Stacy or Andrea, about spectators?
You're good.
Okay. The only other thing that I just thought of is we will have chairs available for people to sit on either side of the runway. So you can sort of see it here on this picture. But we're also not limiting it to just the seats. So if people want to stand, if all of the seats are filled, you are welcome to stand behind the seats. We're not, at this point in time, we're not going to be having the seats be social distanced. So do take that into account when you're making your plans for the day. But there will be plenty of seating. I think it's 250 seats, and then whatever standing room is available after that. So, okay. I am happy to open it up for questions at this point in time. If you want to unmute yourself, that would be wonderful. If not, that's okay. Feel free to type something in the chat. Otherwise, we'll just kind of stay on answering questions, and you've kind of got the bread and the butter of the day. All right.
Okay, do you want to go at the chat real quick, JC, to
Yeah, I will.
address those last two? I've done some of it. I'm on my iPad, so like this is real fun, just FYI.
Okay. To see your name in the shows, are you talking about like the show order, the show program? I'm guessing. Okay, so you know where the listing, the folder, that's the Google Drive folder that I have the shows listed in, that's where I'm going to put everything. So I'll put a PDF of the program in there. You'll be able to access it there. The other thing I will say is we are going to be live streaming. So I have mentioned that a few times. I'm also going to be putting together one like final newsletter before, so you know how you got one at the beginning of this week. I'll send one out next week with some of the final details in it, but that will have a link for all the live streams in them. I haven't created the live streams yet, so that's where you'll be able to find that information and share them with the people you care about. So that's kind of where you'll be able to find all of those things. No, when participants go for the finale, you don't have to stop at the X's. You'll just continue walking all the way through. It's just kind of one last look. You won't space it out quite as much as what the original modeling was. So you'll just kind of,
and the audience applauds during that time period.
Yep. Quick question of the photo backdrop. The last one was busy. So there is a new backdrop at Raising Nebraska. I was just informed it's in that area. I haven't seen it. So we will be using that one. I'm hoping that it's not overly busy. But if it is, we'll kind of address it that day. We'll maybe find a wall or something like that. So that's kind of where we're at with that one. I'm not intending on using that backdrop that we had last year. I actually am planning on using it as a wall for one of the dressing rooms so we can make sure that it's not see-through. Okay. Okay. Your narration came from the county fair, or do you need to write a new one? Okay. So if you're a late entry, I haven't got your narration. I've gotten a couple of them, but not all of them. Otherwise, if you haven't got an email from me, I have a narration for you. And we did, like I said earlier, we did make the narrations 2 to 3 sentences. So most of them, like we kind of reworded and things like that. We kept like all of the details about your garment, but for the most part, we kind of condensed what you said into those 2 or 3 sentences. So no, you wouldn't have to write a new one at this point in time. If you've already sent me a narration of some sort, don't worry about it. The folder will be sent out. Okay, so the folder that I was talking about will be given to you at the registration table. So we'll have some volunteers there to give you your folder, your registration packet with your number for your garment, and then also your t-shirt. So you'll get a Nebraska State Fair t-shirt also. Will you send an updated list of all the people in each show like you had in the spreadsheet you showed at the beginning? Yes, so you'll have access to those spreadsheets throughout. I am planning on, once I know the order of the show, I will update them so that you know what order you're modeling in. So at this point in time, they're organized by county. Once I have all of the entries put in there and in the right order, so I order them by project. So Beyond the Needle, knitting, crochet will start the show. Then we'll have Steam 2 and Steam 3. Then for show 1, it will be wool at the end. Shopping in style is self-explanatory. It's by county. And then within those groups, it's by county alphabetical order. So, and if there's multiple people in a county, then it's organized by last name, if that's not confusing. So very confusing, sorry. So I will, in the next newsletter, I will make sure everyone knows that that's the actual show order that you'll see there. The fashion show is Saturday, the 28th. Sorry that my email had a typo. I seem to be struggling with dates this year, apparently. Days of the week and dates not matching up. Saturday, the 28th. Okay, sorry about that. All right. Anything else?
I have a quick question. I was at a roughing clinic and I just stepped in with my daughter. So 2 quick questions. Tickets, will we get a ticket mailed to her to get in? Because I didn't buy for her.
Okay, so each exhibitor will get one mailed to the county office. So I've been informed this evening that they have made it to the county office. So check with your county office.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, then feel free at any point in time to reach out to myself or Stacy or Andrea. We're happy to answer whatever questions that you have. Like I said, I am recording this Zoom, so you can go back and rewatch it if you need to. Otherwise, I am planning on sending out another little newsletter to kind of give you the final details of the fashion show. Give you some of those links that you'll maybe want to share with some of your family members that can't attend for the live stream. And you'll be able to look at the order of the fashion show. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you
Where
all.
do we access the recorded one of this?
I will send it out in the next little newsletter. It'll probably come out on Tuesday of next week, Monday or
Perfect.
Tuesday. We'll see how
Thank you.
ambitious I get this weekend. So
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you all for attending. Holler at us if you have any questions or need help with anything. Thank you.